The Trump administration is also taking action against refugees. Last night, the White House ordered all advocate groups to immediately stop helping tens of thousands of refugees who have already arrived in the U.S. That includes Afghans who provided critical support to the U.S. war in Afghanistan. Let's talk more about what all of this means. Joining me right now is Krish O'Mara Vignarajah. She is the president and CEO of Global Refuge, a nonprofit which supports migrants and refugees who enter the United States. And she was also policy director for former First Lady Michelle Obama. Krish, welcome. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me back on.
So this assistance ranges from caseworker support to housing. What does this mean to you? How do you interpret this new order of freezing refugee services, and this would start and has started immediately?
Yeah, it was surprising to get a letter on Friday afternoon essentially saying stop operations. We're carefully reviewing the order to ensure compliance, of course, and to explore all of our options in terms of how do we continue to serve, in particular, the Afghan allies who risk their lives to protect our U.S. troops. The idea that for some, they'll be arriving this week, upcoming week, the next month. We're obviously grateful that the administration didn't pause their ability to seek protection here in the U.S. and to avoid Taliban retribution. But the question is, how do we make sure we can pick them up at the airport, that we can find them affordable housing so they don't go homeless, that we can enroll their young children into schools? It's obviously difficult to process.
So you're trying to get clarity on what those steps, you're able to do. But then that means while you're also trying to get clarity, you probably have a plan B or plan C that you're working on. What might those be? I mean, do you now lean on, some other nonprofit organizations or churches? I mean, what are your plan B and C's?
Yeah, the virtue of refugee resettlement is it is a program that's always been implemented through public-private partnerships. We've heavily relied on congregations, community-based groups to support this work for over 4 decades. And frankly, even since we began in 1939, it was as a result of the work of Americans that became a federal program. So we'll certainly be looking, to donors, these community-based groups. Obviously, if listeners want to support the work of Welcome, globalrefuge.org provides additional resources. But it's hard because obviously the federal government's, our partnership with the State Department is critically important to what is the gold standard in terms of a program. These are refugees who have gone through extreme vetting. They come here only when their application has been processed. It's why this program has always had bipartisan support.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the U.S. effectively, shut down its border with Mexico as well. Now, suspending refugee admissions. There are currently, are there really any, avenues left for those who are seeking asylum in the U.S., or is all of that on hold, and is that message being sent?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is all on hold. And it's difficult because, we were heartened to hear President Trump say in the Oval Office while signing the executive orders that, like us, he supported legal immigration. But when you shut down refugee resettlement, when you shut down the CBP-1 app by which applicants were applying in an orderly fashion to receive appointments so that they could plead their legal case, what I fear is that we are driving families who are fleeing for their lives out from the most desperate of circumstances into the hands of cartels. But of course, an executive order rightfully, looked at designating cartels as terrorist organizations. But for some of these families who, their parents who are trying to protect their children, they're extremely desperate. And I pray that there are legal pathways for them to enter, because I don't want other things to happen.
All right. Krish O'Mara Vignarajah, I hope to talk to you again soon, because really this is just the beginning, right? And all kinds of contingency plans are soon to get underway. We'd love to have you back. Thank you so much.
Thanks again.